So life pushes you, stand straight. So you stand straight because it shows authority. It shows control. You're not going to be in any martial arts or any Brazilian jiu-jitsu training class where they're going to say, when your opponent attacks, run.
Hello, dear listeners. It's that time again when we stroll through the paths of ambition, desire, and success. Welcome to the Dare to Declare podcast, where we explore the enchanting world of giant manifestors who've turned their visions and goals into the stuff of legends. I couldn't help but wonder, how do some people create the lives they've always dreamed of? Is it the magic of manifesting, the power of perseverance, or perhaps just a dash of serendipity? Well, dear friends, grab your coffee cups because we're about to spill the tea on fascinating journeys of those who dare to dream big and make it happen. Join me as we sip on success stories and ponder the ever-enticing question, can we all manifest our dreams into reality, or is it just an urban fairy tale? I'm your host, Debbie Sluice, and I'm here to guide you through the labyrinth of achievement with heart and soul. Ready to dare to declare? Let's get started. Hey everybody, I am so excited to introduce my next guest. It's Anik Singal, and this is going to be an amazing conversation. I have to just be transparent here. I just met him, but and I got his name through another contact, which is how this business works often. It's like somebody knows somebody, and then I'm like, how did I not ever know this person before? And so Anik, I'm really curious because one of the things that I noticed when you finish off your podcast, you say, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, push it the heck right back. Where did that come from?
That's a really good question. Would you believe that I've never been asked this question? And I say it at the end of every video presence, webinar, video, ad, social media. I say it all the time. I have been saying this now. Geez, Debbie, I've been saying it for 16 years, maybe. I've been an entrepreneur actively online for 21. I'd say 17 years. And at some point, I've had team members create shirts of it, and it's one of those sentences that I think really gets through. Both my daughters, I have a almost 2-year-old and a 4-month-old. They have little plaques, and it has a quote in their rooms, and it says "Daddy" under it. But theirs is a little bit more. Their mom made sure it was a little bit more soft. So it's, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it back. The word heck had to go out. My phrase is, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. But it came because my life, as much as I've achieved and had, and as blessed as I am, absolutely, God, have I had challenges. And when I say that, I mean, take every ounce of energy to say that. I mean every cell of that sigh. I have nearly died multiple times. I've been near bankruptcy. I'm 40 years old, by the way, as I'm doing this, and I've just been through far more than I think most 40-year-olds should go through. Now, have I had the worst of it? Absolutely not. I don't have to throw a ball very far to find someone living a far more challenging life than myself. So I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying I've dealt with a lot. I've got Crohn's disease. I've had 13 surgeries. I've dealt with economic downturns. I've been cheated by people I love the most in business. I've lost millions. I've made millions. Um, what I learned was, no matter what you're doing, there's no playing it too safe. If you are breathing, you are out there experiencing life. You're out there in the world, engaging with other humans. What that's going to do is, it creates a ripple effect that is just basically where when life pushes you, life will push you, period. And life is meant to cover your job, your employees, your wife, your husband, your kids, your uncle, your aunt, your parents. It's everything. It's everybody, right? And so at some given point, someone's going to push you. Just today, it's not even midday yet, and I would tell you there's been at least 5 or 6 different people that have sizably pushed me, and upset me and desettled me. So life pushes you, stand straight. So you stand straight because it shows authority. It shows control. It shows that you are still in control, in the sense of you have composure. It's very, very, very strong positioning when you're in an issue. You're not going to be in any martial arts or any Brazilian jiu-jitsu training class where they're going to say, when your opponent attacks, run. It's just not the way it works. So you
Right.
stand straight, stand your ground. You smile because a smile is one of the most intimidating things you can do on the planet in a good way. And I mean this, if you think about it, if someone's trying to bully you and all you do is naturally, genuinely from the pit of your stomach, from the bottom of your heart, you smile, you've just shown them they have no impact on you. They
Mm.
can't control you. They can't get under your skin. They can't get under your under, they can't get to you. And then you push it the heck back because once you've gained control, once you've analyzed and assessed the situation, once you've stripped the opposition from their strength and power over you, you attack, you move. And so that simple saying is something I say all the time because I think it's been a defining mantra of my life. It's the only way I've gotten where I've gotten. I mean, I was in the ICU at one point, Debbie, where literally I was laying flat. Um, I'm laying flat and I'm getting 2 pints of blood transfused every day into me because I'm internal bleeding that much. And my intestines are basically like eroding away. It was really bad. But they're trying to avoid surgery desperately for reasons I today know. Because a lot of after effects of that. And I got so weak, and I was getting antibiotics and steroids and insulin shots and all this crazy stuff pumped into me and blood infusions that if they even picked my bed up just so I could sit up, my heart rate would spike to 180. So I had to stay flat. I stayed flat for over 90 days in the ICU in a tertiary care center in DC. It was so long that then they went to surgery, 10-hour surgery, of which I was there. They said, loved ones, come say hi. And 50% it might be a buy, you know? So this was going on for months. And in the ICU, there was a moment where the head administrator was called and we had a huge issue where they wanted to kick me out of the hospital. And you're going to laugh at why. Because in the ICU, you have a no phone policy. They didn't have iPhones back then. We only had Blackberries. I was running my business from the Blackberry. And when they would confiscate my Blackberry, I'd have one of my team members sneak me in a new Blackberry. And I would run my business at night under the bed sheets. And I did product launches. And throughout 3 months, I did 2 product launches from the ICU. Um, and I eventually negotiated with them and said, "There's a nurse station in my room that tilts, so like I can lay on the computer while I'm lying down." I said, "Give me 4 hours a day with that, 3 or 4. I don't remember. I won't do the phone thing anymore." Like this was what I was doing in that situation because my theory back then was I can either sit here and rot or I can do something. If I'm still breathing, I'm still out there fighting for my dreams and doing what I can do. That's the when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. That's where that comes from. It's this quote unquote fighter mentality, but I don't want to use the word fighter in a wrong way. But I just mean a resilient mentality. So sorry, a very long answer to such a short question, but never been asked that before, so I was excited to answer it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. There's so much that's coming up for me, but it makes me think about the equation Jack Canfield. Do you know who Jack Canfield is? Co-wrote Chicken Soup
Yeah,
for
of
this
course.
book. Yeah, so he talks about the equation E plus R equals O. And so E is the event. So in your case, your health challenges, having to lay flat. And then O is the outcome. And many people just go from E to O. My goodness, I'm going to be in ICU. I'm going to be incapacitated. Like, so I guess my outcome is my company's going to tank without me, and I just can't do this. But you chose the R, which is resiliency, which is response. And that actually determines your outcome. And you're like, no, 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 I'm not going to allow that, which
Yeah.
is really that fight, right? So
Yeah.
love that. One of the things I didn't do, and I want to just go back here, is, your bio that I found is 5 lines, and it says dreamer, teacher, fighter. And I mean, you've really embodied that just in your single answer already here. So I love that. And entrepreneur, that 9 figures in online sales, that you're a founder or investor in 10 plus countries, and you're a best-selling author and car enthusiast. Very cool. I don't know. I seem to attract mostly the males on this show as car enthusiasts.
Yeah, I would say most and like type A male entrepreneurs tend to like cars. I don't
Ah,
know what it is. I've liked them since I was a kid, and it's like an escape for me to just be hanging around cars. So who
there
knows?
you go. Yeah, yeah. Well, this show is about giant manifestors, and you definitely are one. And so that leads me to my next question is I would like you to go back. So you just said you're 39, 40,
40. Yeah,
40.
40.
So when you were 25, you were, I believe, on the cover, the face on the cover of the best US entrepreneur under 25. So you were featured. tell me, like, when you saw that and when you had the magazine in hand, like, what did that feel like?
Yeah, so actually it was Business Week, and I wasn't on the cover of it, but what they did that was really cool is they kinda made us those images, that must be what you saw, to just celebrate us.
Huh.
Business Week was a magazine that got bought up by Bloomberg, and this is a long time ago, so they did a contest for best entrepreneurs under 25, and so you could nominate people, and I didn't even realize I got nominated. I didn't even know about it until I got messaged one day, and I thought it was one of my friends probably punking me or trolling me, and I got a message, and one of the key judges of it was Sir Richard Branson. So I was a big Richard Branson. Am a big Richard Branson fan. So um, I they said you're nominated, so you're in the top. So once you got enough nominations or whatever, I think they picked 25. So there's obviously hundreds, if not thousands, of people nominated. They picked 25. So I was one of the 25, and then you get a chance to do voting. So I was able to I didn't take it that seriously. I mean, I know now with my reach and my audience, I could have easily won number 1. I just didn't really know what it was. I honestly never even believed it fully. So I told people vote for me, sent it to my email list and stuff. Came in number 2. I lost to what I always jokingly call I lost to the cupcake guy. There's a guy who owns a cupcake franchise in DC. He won, and I'm like, "Really? I could have beat a cupcake guy. Like if I had actually tried, I would have been number 1." So you always hear me call it. So here's what I do. I was runner up, right? And I don't like saying that, so I just say voted top 3 entrepreneurs under
Yeah.
25 by Business Week magazine. So,
Good
but yeah,
people
it
to
was a really
recognize.
cool story. It was a proud moment.
Mhm.
And it was for me a manifestation of a lot of quote unquote risk I had taken from walking away from more of a set life into this crazy world of entrepreneurship.
Very cool. I imagine it'd be like, someone, a singer, hearing their song on the radio for the first time, like seeing something like that where you actually see it and go, "Whoa, that
Yeah.
happened. That's cool."
Yeah.
So you talked about your children. Do you have two girls? Is that what you said?
I have 2 girls, yes.
Two girls. And so I was listening to your podcast and you were talking about how you spent some time. You were born in the United States, correct? Or you spent your childhood in the United States and then you went
Yes.
to India to do your business. And is that where you met your wife?
So, yeah, I was born here, then I moved to India. I lived there for a couple of years, and the whole crazy story of how we why we came back because I actually had a terrorist bounty on my head. And so my parents quickly ran and brought us back to the US when I was in 3rd grade. And then I was here forever. And then, yeah, I ended up buying a company, a small freelancing business out in Mumbai, India, which I'm Indian, but I have nothing to do with that region. I'd never been there before. My family is all hours away, hours of flight time away. And my wife she was just graduating college at the time, and she got a job as customer support in our company, and then she moved all the way up to head of HR. And that's ironic because we together wrote the policy of no dating inside the office. Um,
That's
so
brilliant.
actually, funny enough, I had to eventually ask her to leave the company because we were dating. So, but yeah, I
So
met her there while we had an office in India for about 7 years. I would do a month in America and a month in India, and then a month in America, and then a month in India. I'd bounce back and forth for a month at a time, and so I got a really interesting experience doing business there. And then eventually we got married, and she moved over here.
very cool. So you talked a bit about your childhood, and one of the things that I've heard you say is that in the Indian culture, children are really, you just do what you're told, and then that is a paradigm that carries into adulthood, which is what you were seeing in the employment. So I'm curious, being that your parents are from Indian descent, what was your childhood like? And was there a creative outlet for you? I'm just curious.
It's funny. So first of all, I had a great childhood. I mean, I'm my dad's my best friend, my mom's my best friend. We were really close. They live 10 minutes away. They're over all the time. So to start start that now, I want because I like to give the outcome, the end story, so no one tries to make up their mind throughout the story. We are about as close as we are ever be, and I'm super grateful for my parents. And as far as an upbringing, my dad was tough. I mean, tough. Here's how tough he was. So my first SAT, okay, first SAT tutoring class was in 5th grade.
Wow.
5th. My first SAT I ever took in 6th grade. I studied the SATs every day from 6th grade all the way until I got my final score that was acceptable. I think I took the SAT about 20 times whether it was official or unofficial. I had a 4.0 grade point average. My dad was at every teacher parent meeting. He was in touch with all my teachers via email and phone, and he was all about academics and studying. And my dad grew up in a village with no electricity, where he used to study under candles and street lamps, street lamp posts. So I know he brought our family up to a certain level, and I know I have to excel past that. And I accepted that. I wanted that, but also at the same time, my dad was kind of, if you know Indian or older Asian men. I hate to be stereotypical, but it's just they tend to be more reserved and quiet, and my father didn't necessarily show a lot of joy and excitement. He's a lot more animated now than he used to be, but when I finally got that big score and I got that like fast final SAT, I had scored a 1490 out of 1600, and um, perfect on the math. And I called him at work. So I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited! And, Dad, I got this score." And I just pause on the phone, no voice, and just hear good. And I mean, I remember that. I'm like, I was so mad, right? I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But it also kind of trained me to, like, we get to be great at things, not so that everyone pats our back and celebrates us, but because we get to be great at things for the art of being great at things, right? For the joy of that actual thing. And so really built that into me. But growing up, I mean, I was looking around my family. Our family, as an extended family, has gone through generations. So we had the engineer generation, and then we had the doctors generation, and now we currently have the lawyers generation. There is no entrepreneurial generation. That's just me sticking out. So at the time, I was looking around. I really, really, still till this day, I'm close to one of my cousins who I've looked up to since I was a kid, and I love cars. I told you, right? It comes back to cars, by the way. He graduated med school when I was still little, so I was in before high school, or like right starting high school. And for graduating med school, his father bought him a BMW M3. And immediately when I saw that, I thought, "This is how I get my BMW M3.
Mm.
I have to go to med school. My dad will buy me a BMW M3 when I graduate from med school." I mean, talk about the absolute hardest way to get an M3. So I looked around, I looked at everybody that has the nicest homes, nicest cars, nicest whatever, life, the specifications, they're doctors. So, okay, great. Anik will become a doctor. I'm doing well in school already. I'm sure I'll get into a good med school. And I did. I got into a program called the Meyerhoff program. They pick 60 people out of the world a year. It's very difficult to get into. Super esteemed. It's part of this full scholarship. I was getting paid to go to school. And your freshman first year, you start getting recruited by Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, and everyone for grad school. So I was on like a one way. My dad. I got full scholarship. My dad doesn't have to pay for school. He was going through some hard times at work at that time. Anyways, it was great. And I'm the one way ticket into any med school I want to be in. So sweet. Except within the first couple weeks of being in my freshman year, I was going through a lot of health issues too. So I was getting surgery after surgery, missing classes, missing school. But also my second weekend, I remember one morning waking up, I had to go to my bio class. And I just had that moment where I thought, oh, I'm miserable. I don't want to do any of this. So one thing, Debbie, I've been really good at and I refuse to compromise on is I'm very self aware. I'm very reflective. And if it's off, it's off. I'm not moving forward. I get to I get to live every moment of my life and every year of my life, every month of my life happy. And so if I'm moving towards something incorrect, but my problem was I had to tell my parents. So what did I want? I wanted to quit. I don't want to do med school. I was kept thinking about the time when I was a kid and I started a lemonade stand. I want to be an entrepreneur. What is an entrepreneur? I don't have any money. I have no one in my life to show me how to do it, but I want to build, I want to create. So first year I get through it and muck through college somehow. Tell some of my friends in this program. The Meyerhoff program, you get to become very close. It's an amazing community. And I remember second year, I'm sitting in the library, and one of my friends, she joins. We're going to study, and we've become very good friends with her. She's in the program. She's a really awesome person who changed my life, PJ. So I always try to honor her. And she looks over at me. I don't even know what I was doing, and she just gets pissed. We're in the library. It's supposed to be quiet. She slams my book shut as she says, "That's it. I've had enough." I'm like, "Whoa!" She's, by the way, you got to know, sweetest thing on the world, like raising her voice. I'm like, "What the heck has happened?" She's like, "Go home right now and tell your parents I'm fed up. Enough of this now. Like, you're miserable. I can't stand to watch this." I'm like, "Well, I was just reading my book. Like, what the heck?" But I got in the car. It was about a 50-minute drive. I called my parents. "Can I come home?" They said, "Yeah." I went home and I told them my hands were doing this. I thought I'm going to disappoint my parents so much. My dad looks me dead in the eyes and says, "I don't agree with your decision, but it's your life, and I will absolutely support anything you want to do. You should be happy."
Wow.
And he meant it. I know my dad. I mean, he was not upset and anything, and it changed my life. I was like, "What?" And so when people ask me to tell them how my parents are, I'm like, I have to tell the whole story. I have to tell you the fact that, I mean, he supported me through and through in anything, and I wouldn't be here where I am today without that support. Because if he had said no, I would have probably not done it. At least not for a while, or maybe never. Um, and it's just crazy though, because I also pat myself on the back too, to a degree, because um, I was gonna eventually do it, I think. Like, I don't think I can go too long living unhappily, but yeah, Indian kids will be more, and I was born and brought up here, so if I was born and brought up in India, I don't know, maybe I would be adapted. Kids nowadays, the youth nowadays is becoming more westernized, so it's not as big of a deal, but you do have that issue with, people, and when I employ people in India, um, there can be a lot of yes men, yes ma'am type of situations. And so it's tough. But I had amazing parents. I am where I am because of their support and love. And even when my dad couldn't, he told me once, he's like, "Look, I don't know anything about this. I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to support you. But I can promise you, you'll always have a roof over your head and food in your belly. So if you go broke, there's always a home for you to come back to. Do what you got to do." And I was like, that's the best kind of support ever. And today, nowadays, I've heard him a few times. It's so cute. People are like, "Oh my God, your son's this entrepreneur." Like, and my dad's like, "Oh, I always knew he's gonna be an entrepreneur. Like, I always told," like, and I'm like, and I'll laugh and I'm like, "You know what, old man, I'm gonna let you have this one. You deserve it." Yeah. So,
I love that. Love that story. And you're saying that he's a little bit more animated. I think grandkids tend to do that, right? So when it's
don't even get me started with the hypocrisy on grandkids versus his own kids. I mean, I
right.
listen to what he yells at my sister. My nephews are 11 and 7, and they're in tutoring and all that. And he'll be yelling at me. He's like, "She doesn't let them be kids. She has them in all this tutoring, and they're constantly having to study, and it's just ridiculous. Kids should be kids." And I'm like, my sister's calling me on the other side. She's like, "Are you listening to this nonsense?" I'm like, "Are you? How? What? Like, where were you during my childhood?" You know. So hypocrisy for grandparents is at like a whole nother level. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Awesome. So it makes me think about mentorship and masterminds. Who's your inner circle now, or who's your person that that really supports you? So that was who it was when you were a kid, and you, even though, like you said, you had that inner nudge, which is also something that is common that I'm finding with giant manifestors, is that they really listen to the intuitive voice. They have the inner knowing, and then they
Yeah.
act on it. And like you said, I would have eventually anyways, but it was just probably accelerated with the fact that you had your dad's approval. But thinking about now, who is that person for you?
It's so funny because at different walks of my life, I've had different people. I've had many mentors. I'm super grateful for all of them. The one that I have had since college, who remains at this point, it's funny because he even asks, I don't call him your friend, and his name is Scott, and I've been friends with him since he was my entrepreneurship 101 college professor. He was an adjunct professor. He was just literally there for one class. He hated it and he never came back. Gave me a B minus in entrepreneurship. Till this day, I'm like, you gotta go back and change that grade. Like, it's ridiculous. But he took it so seriously. I'm like, I took entrepreneurship 101. Like, that'll be a fun class. You get to like, this guy's giving. He had a exam, like a test within the first week, and we had to read like 7 entrepreneurship books. I'm like, I was. And his joke now is like, I was busy being an entrepreneur, so I didn't have time to study entrepreneurship, which is actually very true at that time.
Yeah,
Um, but he has remained. He's probably the one mentor that was there. 2005 and is still there today. So we're talking 20 years, pretty much most of my entrepreneurial career. I had the individual by the name of Justin Ford, who taught me copywriting. And I hate writing. I used to hate writing. I'm like horrible at it, but now I'm apparently one of the top copywriters in the world. And so, if he hadn't taught me what he taught me, I would have never fallen into this industry. And since then, I've just had so many. Right now, funny enough, Debbie, I would almost, in a weird way, say I don't know if again the word mentor, coach is the head attorney, the one I wrote this book with, because
yeah.
he supports the crap out of me right now, and he's teaching me. He's turning me into a little compliance wizard. I mean, gosh, I sometimes wonder if I should just go to law school because I actually really love it. I love and I enjoy it. It's obviously personal to me, but I
Hmm.
spend a lot of time with him. So education wise, I'm focused there. Business mentor at the moment, I don't know if I particularly have someone. I think I'm kind of in the middle of this big transition, but my guess is pretty soon I'll have someone in the SaaS world because I'm learning a lot about software development and software businesses. And yeah, it's just along the way. Some of my mentors have been coaches, people I've just hired. And, my CPA is someone I've learned more about tax and investing from than anybody else, but I technically pay him every year. So
Right, right. Which is, yeah, exactly. And it's what you're close to, what you're experiencing. I mean, that's really the best way to learn is and
yeah,
become self-aware is through the experience. And your most recent book is Don't Say That, and you're sharing with me that really understanding and learning all about compliance. And I have to say, as a former childcare director in Canada, I mean, it's just like so many laws, different layers of government. Like it makes me want to poke my eyes out, right? But if you
yeah,
don't, like, then you're going to get in trouble with your employees. You're going to get in trouble with the laws around children, and there's the compliance definitely. Um, there's like it's like having that preparation, isn't it? Like
yeah.
so that yes, as an entrepreneur, there's risk. But can you talk a little bit about that? About why you've all of a sudden had this new appreciation and passion for compliance?
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds so crazy. Right? Passion for compliance is like, really,
But that's one of the
it's
big sound of it.
crazy.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like, if you told me, okay, so for everyone's interest, real quick synopsis. So, been doing this for 21 years, like I said. I was in a heavily regulated industry. We were teaching people how to launch businesses. I knew that. Because of that, I had a FTC attorney I spent over $1 million with over the course of 15 years, had a full-time paralegal in our company. We had 3 support teams. Our average response time to our customers was 36 minutes. We did 63,000 transactions across 26,000 unique customers in a 3-year window. We ran 36 minutes response time, nights, weekends, days, holidays, whatever. Um, in the 3-year cumulative period of doing 63,000 transactions, we had 50 BBB complaints,
Hmm.
all resolved. We have had no legal issues with a single customer ever, with a single vendor. I've never had a legal notice. I've never been served, um, except for when the FTC messaged me in May of 2022 to let me know that I was going to be investigated. And just a month before that, my wife had delivered our first child. A month and a half after the notice, I was set to sell my company. We were through due diligence. I was stepping down as CEO exactly 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after. I was going to step down 2 weeks after I got that notice, which I lost everything in the sense. Okay, a 40 million a year company, poof, before me. That took 20 years to build. It took every ounce of my soul to figure out how to run this company. It was a very unique business, a publishing company, which also happened to be the number one business you should not be in if you get hit by the FTC, because my revenue was 80% dependent on other people we were publishing. So the minute we got this notice of investigation, I'm of course going to tell people. I don't legally have to, but I will. Of course, those experts and those people in publishing are going to ask that their marketing be taken down. I took it down before I even told them. 80% of my revenue, poof, gone on the spot. Legal bills, millions of dollars. Opportunity costs, millions of dollars. A potential sale of the company, which is my biggest dream before I turned 40, gone. The ability to step down as CEO and go start something new, gone. The ability to be a full-time dad for a year and a half, gone. Um, Nights full of absolute stresses, having to dismiss 80% of my employees. That was my new life now. It was, as I shared with you earlier, it's where I was, where hell goes when hell has been bad. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was the worst, 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 worst part of my life. That includes the fact that I almost died. I spent a year, I had 3 surgeries in a year. I almost died. I was 92 days of the year in the ICU. I had to relearn to walk again. I had horrendous surgeries. And still, I would say being investigated by the FTC for the 18 months was worse than that year. And it's not because of anything the FTC does. I want to be very clear. They're actually very professional, gave extensions. No one raids your office. They never put a gun to my head, said, stop your business. They just said, we want to look around. And that's, we want to really look around. Like, we want to get all up in your business and look at everything. It's just the mental torture of not knowing. I have actual PTSD. Don't hand me a FedEx package or a certified letter. I will run, because I have had many other issues that have happened in the last 18 months during that time too, that involve certified letters and FedEx packages. So it's too late by the time they message you. It's too late by the time they find out. You need to be proactive. I ran a very, very good company. But any driver, the best driver in the world, if you follow them around long enough, is going to roll through a stop sign or not stop at a red light. And that's what the regulators look for. They're not going to come to you and say, "Oh, you're mostly okay. Sorry." See you later. Have a good one. Once they're there, they're there. They're going to find what they want. So we want to help people. And I just learned so much during that time, Debbie, that I was like, wait, what? I didn't know that's a problem. So my whole case came down to even 4 words. Had those 4 words not been on my sales calls, there's a very different outcome of my case probably. And those 4 words, are you ready, Debbie? Were, what is your goal? So you book a call with me or my sales team. We get on the phone. We teach people how to build businesses online, how to grow their businesses. We ask you, what's your goal? You say, well, my husband, he works on the oil rigs. He makes $12,000 a month. If we could make $12,000 a month, I can get him to quit his oil rig job, come home, be easy, and I can have my husband back. And I respond and say, that's a great goal, Debbie. I can help. Let's help you with that. We can help you with that. Let's get it done. Or I don't say anything. I just say, that's a great goal, Debbie. Let's talk about the next steps. That's an implied earnings claim. I have implied that is something I can to say, and I don't have substantiation or typicality studies to prove it. This is something that I didn't know. It's called goal setting, and there isn't one public document written by the FTC that talks about goal setting. But my attorney, the one that I'm friends with and work with now, has been in many rooms at the FTC's office with the leadership at the FTC and heard them point blank say goal setting is an applied earnings claim. So now it's all going to be here. I realized going through that, I was like, man, there's so much I don't know. If I don't know it, there's no chance that the industry knows it. And I have been accepted with warm, wide open arms, and people are like, and we started a podcast, and people's minds are being blown. And I haven't made a dollar from it yet. I haven't sold a book because the book's not out at the time that we're filming this, and I haven't made a dollar. My new business has not made money in 7, 8 months. All I've done is serve, 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 and I'm like, I don't care. I just want to get the message out. I'm sure the business will follow. Software will take months more to develop. So my passion for compliance comes from the fact that it completely not knowing it destroyed my life, and to a degree, right? Not my personal life, but my business life will rebuild. But gosh, God, I would not hope anybody, even those of you who I don't like very much, to experience what I'm experiencing right now. It's just horrible. And so that's the passion. I think there's something here. My experience now, my team, my access, my knowledge is all a unique thing that if I don't use it to get this message out, if I don't turn my mess into a message, no one else is going to, and this will continue. No more and more people will remain uninformed and put themselves at risk.
This is such gold. I'll tell you why, is that I'm in the coaching industry. And that is one of the parts of a sales call that's promoted as part of a sales call for coaching, is
Yep.
asking those 4 words. And I mean, I've done it. So this is brilliant. I want to contact you after this and find out more. I definitely want to read the book. Because one of the things I'm going to ask you is about, and as we're wrapping up here, is about your vision. And so it's interesting. You said don't say that about goals, but I want to ask you about your vision. And do you have a vision board? I mean, you're just meeting me now too, so I don't know if you know, that's my jam, is vision boards. I'm the world's best vision board coach.
Love vision boards.
Awesome, awesome. And so you have a vision board?
I have not done my 2024. I do it every year.
Yeah,
I'll update it, and I've not done my 2024 one. I actually don't think I've done one. If I'm being very honest, I haven't done one since the FTC case had started, but we just closed it now, so I kind of feel like chapter closed. We're
yeah.
starting again, so yeah, it's time to do a vision board. But do I have? Well, you were asking me if I have a vision board or if I have a vision for all of what I'm doing right now.
Both those things.
Yeah, so the vision board, I let's just say I had the only time I haven't done is the last couple of years, but it's something I do intend to do again this year. I'm a big believer of it. I've achieved consistently many things I put on my vision board. And do I have a vision for what we're doing right now? Absolutely. And for the first time, it's purely impact driven and there's no revenue numbers or profit numbers attached to it, which I'm just assuming will follow.
Yeah,
But we have found that companies, big, small, and marketers and advertisers have zero idea what the rules and regulations are for compliance. And it's not just the FTC, by the way. There's 50 states in the country, in the US. Any state attorney general, any can sue you, depending on where, it doesn't matter where you are. Okay. So you have 50 potential state attorneys. You've got consumer lawsuits that are on an absolute rise, and class action. Now you've got legal firms, not lawyers, firms that are specializing in setting booby traps for businesses with consumers to do a class action suit. So what's great is most of what is in the FTC compliance guidelines, if you follow, will automatically provide some level of protection. Now, again, I'm not a lawyer, guys. I'm just, someone who talks about this stuff, who went through the experience. That's it. But a lot of these will help protect you from the other branches too. So it's just about one of the key things I kept saying when my case was going on was, geez, I didn't even know that. And it felt unfair because I didn't know it. But the truth is, you could be driving down a road and get pulled over for speeding. You can't tell the officer, well, geez, officer, I didn't know the speed limit was 50. It's up to you to know. So I just, I think one of my visions and mission is, may no marketer or advertiser ever say that phrase. You could choose to violate, but you can't say you didn't know.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's a message of the podcast, the book, the webinar, the software, and everything is we wanna give all the tools and training so you and your employees always know, and then beyond that, it's a choice.
That's an awesome mission. And I want to say as well, I agree with what you were saying about you haven't made money, but you've been so generous. So even though you've gone through all these trials, you could have chosen that R, that E plus R equals O. Like there's been so many different events, but you've chosen your response is generosity. And the way the universal laws work, it's the law. It will return to you and double fold. And so I'm really excited for you and with you for this new mission, this purpose, and that you've taken this pain and turned it into a passion and into a purpose. And you're going to be helping so many people, including me. So I just so appreciate this. So, how can people get a hold of you and where can they find you?
Yeah, thank first of all, thank you so much for everything you said, and, I can tell you, this is gonna sound really bad, and it's not supposed to sound bad, it's supposed to sound good, guys. In 21 years, this is the least I've ever cared about money, revenue, profit, numbers, and the most I've ever cared about just truly helping. I respond to DMs, I respond to requests, I review stuff, and I don't charge sometimes. And like we're trying everything we can just because. So the lawyer and I have created an organization. We're in the process of getting it out, and it's called the National Association of Advertising Compliance (NAOAC). And through that, we're offering free marketing assessments right now. So if you come and you're like, I just want to, am I like, where am I on the scale of 1 to 10? Like, we can be like, all right, girl, you're a 12. And like, someone's going to knock on your door any minute now. Like, let's get things cleaned up. Or you're a 2 and it's like, hey, we see stuff, but like, I wouldn't be losing sleep at night. And that's a lead into, we offer complete marketing audits. So you have to be doing at least a half a million a year, but you can go to naoac.com/audit. So naoac.com/audit. Sign up for the free assessment. Someone from my team will reach out to you. Go to the other URL. It says go to don'tsaythat.com. Don't Say That is the name of our book that will be out soon. You can sign up for the pre-alert list, or you can get links to all of our podcast episodes. I think we're up to like 10 podcast episodes. They're very pointed. We get into each topic of compliance with the attorney. So the attorney is there, and you're hearing from him. 20 years he's been doing this, by the way. That's his like main expertise is compliance. So those are the lot like different resources. Me, you can find me on social media, Anik Singal. The easiest way to get a hold of me right now, I'll tell you, is go join our Expert Scale group. So if you go to expertscale.com, there's a Facebook group. We've got about 5,000 people in it. We talk a little bit about the FTC stuff, but that one's focused more on the fun stuff, traffic generation, funnels, leads, all that. But I'm there all day long, hanging out with people. So multiple ways to get a hold of me. But yeah, if we can serve you in any way, please, let us know. I'm really here to help.
Well, thank you so much. And just for your generosity, I wish you so much success, abundance, prosperity, also with your family. And I want to also offer you an opportunity to work with me and create that vision board if you'd like.
That'd be
Let's
amazing.
connect off this podcast and send you one of my magazines, which makes it very simple. And perhaps you want to even consider doing it with your wife. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful as well to create one vision board together.
I
So,
finally got her to do it. She would never do them. I finally got her to do it. By the way, you'll enjoy this. Some random. I used to teach a class in India for the youth there to build vision boards, and I created a concept there called Vision Wall, and I loved it. And I intend to do it again in my house here. So in my condo there, so I used to rent a place. I had an apartment I would rent. I took one entire wall because I was a bachelor, right? So it's like I don't have any decor guidelines, but on the wall I built a I took pictures of beautiful things I wanted, and I went to the local print shop. They printed it on this really nice wooden thing that I hung up, and so I had a vision wall, and every week I would rearrange it. Just, it was a little fun game to play and to get so I couldn't walk into my bed or kitchen without seeing and walking past it. So thought you would enjoy that. I
I
actually
do
took the whole
enjoy that.
concept and blew it up.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And you know, I'm when you said hang pictures on the wall as a bachelor, like I've had some young guys in my workshop before. I'm like, why is your whole board full of half clothed women?
Yeah. Yeah. Rest assured, mine does not have that, never did. So mine's got a lot of cars on it though, cars and private jets and other nonsense
Perfect.
that none of us honestly should have or want because it's just stuff that breaks, but yeah, it's fun to have.
And no, it is fun, and you know, we get to live this physical life where we get to find joy in those things. But as you
Yeah,
said, it's really, you know, touching lightly because things can come. And as you had that experience, one of the things I saw was that you had zero, and you're like, how about in 24 hours I can make $1 online, and you're not making $330. So you know how to manifest, but you also know that things can leave as well. But it's what's so beautiful is that you shared today is your attitude, and I think that's just been really inspiring. So thank you so much. Today, we've delved into the realm of manifesting giants, exploring the power of declaring our desires to the universe with unapologetic boldness. But before we bid adieu, I have a little something special to share with all of you dreamers out there. Introducing the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and online DIY vision board course, your ticket to manifesting greatness in style. Picture this: flipping through pages filled with inspiring images, empowering quotes, and step-by-step guides to help you create the vision board of your dreams. Whether you're yearning for that spacious condo with a view, or a love that sets your soul on fire, our magazine is here to guide you every step of the way. Dive deep into the art of manifesting with our exclusive online DIY vision board course. Led by manifesting expert, yes, yours truly, and seasoned dreamers, this course will teach you the ins and outs of creating a vision board that speaks to your heart and soul. So what are you waiting for? Join the ranks of the manifesting giants and dare to declare your wildest dreams to the universe. Head over to our website, debbiesluice.com, and grab your copy of the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and enroll in our online DIY Vision Board course today. Until next time, keep dreaming big and daring to declare, because in the world of manifesting, the sky's the limit.